Okay, a good Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Boker Tov. Okay, unfortunately, this is we can make a film called Sleepless in Jerusalem, not in Seattle, because last night we had in the middle of the night 4 azakot, and along with the 2 during the day, 6 azakot, 6 awakenings, 6 missiles coming in, and we're having to go to the shelter. It's a new way of life over here. Let's hopefully Shabbos it'll be a little quieter, and it's Erev Shabbos Parshas Vayikra. We're starting a new Chumash, and Kol HaScholos. We should be excited. Start with the Karbonos, and it's Beis Nisan, the second day of Nisan, and it's the Yortzeit of Shalom Duber Levavitch and Yaakov Yosef Ben David Twersky, and okay, in between bumps. Here we go. That's okay. Here we go. And Elio David Ben Moshe Mazuz. Okay. And this is a minhag. We bring the Chavetz Chaim on the Parsha. And this week's Parsha, of course, is Vayikra. So, Minatzon, Minabakar, Minatzon. Why were these 2 chosen for the korban? Kedei shelo lashviach al Yisrael. So the Chavetz Chaim brings the yesod that a Kadosh Baruch Hu does not want to, just like it's important to scroll, to make sure the Sefer Torah is ready before the Kriyas HaTorah. Why? Tircha de Tzibura. You don't want the Tzibur to have to wait. So here also, Kadosh Baruch Hu picked certain animals so there wouldn't be extra tircha. Omer, as it says in Micha, Perek Vav, Pasuk Gimel, Imi, Ma Sisiloch, Ma Hilticha, Anabi. In other words, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm not going to make you do anything unnecessarily extra. I'm a Rebbe Yehuda Rab Simon. I'm a Kadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. Eser behemoths, Taurus, Masarti L'cha. I gave you 10 behemoths. Gimel B'Shuscha. When they say B'Shuscha, I suppose they mean domesticated. Kagon shore, Kesev Va'ez. Sheep and cattle and goats. V'Sheva Ein B'Shuscha. And 7 are not in your rishus. Were Ayo, a ram, Tzvi, a deer, Yachmor, Akko, Dishon, Tiro, V'Zemer. All these are animals that are kosher, yet they're not brought for karbonos. Klum, Yitrachli Alecha, Shetei, Machzir, Behorim, Behoros. I'm not going to have you chase after wild animals, so that you'll bring them to karbonos. Kedesha, Havi Korban, Elu Sha'enam, Birshuscha, Halalo Amati Ella, Mamri Shuscha, Megdolim Alvoscha, those that feed in your trough. We're going to continue with our shir, and of course we always thank Rav David, who's been crucial for these days to be able to get into the Kaisel and Davin. We shall continue the shir. Good. Thank you very much, Rav David. Continue the Chavetz Chaim on Parshas Vayikra, Min HaBoker, Min HaTzon, Ein Zeh Darshu Razal, Rabbeinu, Zechrenu L'Rafaka, Ala Kosuv Be'iyuv, and the Pasuk in Iyuv, Perek Mem Aleph, Pasuk Gimel, Mi Hikdimeni, Vashalim, who shall precede me? In other words, if they do something before I even expect them to do the mitzvah, I will pay them. They will get the reward. There will be a voice from heaven that will explode, that will pronounce and declare on the top of mountains. Call me Shapol Ima HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yovov Yitos Charo. Whoever did work for HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be able to get his payment. Ruach HaKodesh Savcha, and the Ruach HaKodesh, spirit of Holy Spirit, will shout out, Mi Hakdimenu, the Pasuk, who has preceded me, Vashalem, Mi Kiles, Lefanai, Ad Shalamzati Lo Neshama. Who praised me even before I gave him neshama? Me, Mol, as Beno, Ad Shalamzati Lo Ben. Who was ready to circumcise his son even before I gave him neshama? Me, Asat Tzitzis, Ad Shalamzati Lo Talis. Who actually made tzitzis even before he got a talis? Me, Hifrish Truma Maser Ad Shalamzati Lo Garn. Who actually was prepared to give the tithe from the food even before the grain was collected. Ramosar Haskel, the Chavis Chaim says, from here we see Mishnei HaMamar Ma'olu, from both of these Ma'amar Chazal, who Ki Al Yishalel Nosim L'Medavdik. A person should not seek praise for his voluntary contribution. Ki Mishalohu Nosim. Because everything that he gives is from Hashem. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, knowing that you're going to take from him, he did not ask you to take the wild animals, he told you to take the domestic animals. To give to him from him. And in other words, he will provide for you so that you can do the mitzvah. Kadosh Baruch Hu will be magdim for you as you will be magdim for him. Okay, very important yesod from this week's parsha. And now we go to the earth site of Reb Sholem Duber Milubavitch, Ben Reb Shmuel Shnerson Milubavitch Nolad Bilubavitch B'chav ב-1860 ונפטר ברוסטוב יום בייז ניסן שזה היום ב-1920. שמו היה שלום על שם הסבא אביו של רב מנחם מנדל דובר על שם הסבא השני אדמו"ר המצוי שנפטר ב-1827. הוא התארס בהיותו ילד בן 5. How do you like that? A good way to avoid the shidduch crisis. If you make the shidduch when they're 5 years old. And Shterna Sora. Now that's an interesting name. I saw in the Sydney list of Cholim that there were two that were the son and daughter of Shterna Sora. So we see Shterna Sora is a Chabad, Lubavitcher name. Bas Reb Yosef Yitzchak ne Avrosht Shaya Dodo Eser Shanim Achar Kach Yitzchaten. So he was engaged, or the shidduch was made when he was 5, and he actually got married when he was 15. So he was already a respected scholar. Aviv, Reb Sholem Duber, Niftar. So when Shmuel Schneerson passed away, ב-1882, ואחיו הגדול רב זלמן אהרון סירב למלא מקום אביו, בא רב Sholem Duber, תחת לחץ במקומו, הוא פעל, and he became the Admor. פעל רבות למען היהודים הגורשים ממוסקבה. He did much to help those that were expelled from Moscow in 1892. He said in 1897 at Hayeshiva Harishona של Chabad. Sholem Duber was the founder of the first yeshiva of Chabad, which is called Tomchei Tmimin. Beno Haritz Mitayer et Hamamad HaMedrash Shel HaMishim HaMechudodim Rabbanim V'Yidim Shebo Aviv הציג את הישיבה החדשה. רושם אדיר עשה נאום אבי, הכל נאספים, כולם כאחד הודו לדברי קיצור, ועונג באיצ'סים. בשנת 1903 הוא מינה את קרוב משפחתו רב שלמה יהודה לייב אליעזרוף, known as the Shila, הסבא של רב דוב דובר אליעזר רבא של קטמון ורבא של חברון. בשנת 1910 היה רב שלמה דובר הדמות המרכזית באספת הרבנים שהתקיימה בפיטרבורג. בשנת 1912 היווסד אגודת ישראל, נבחר למועצת רבנים של האגודה, אבל יותר מאוחר עזב את האגודה. הוא אמר אין אופי אגודה מתאימים, ואני חושב שהוא מסוכן חס ושלום לפני מדידתנו. התנגד לתנועת הציונות משום שאין לפעול לגאולתנו בכוח עצמנו, והלא אין רשאים לדחוק את הקץ. ושום דבר עובר ב-1916 לרוסטוב. בשנתיים הבאות הקים את ישיבת חב"ד בגרוזיה. והצליח להשיג שחרור מהצבא ליותר 2,000 יהודים תפקידם של רבנים, שופטים, חזנים. לעת זקנותו, בזמן המהפכה הקומוניסטית, ביקש רב שלום דובר שהמעיטו לבוא אליו, אף על פי כן באו אליו בפורים 1920 חסידים רבים, והוא קיבל אותם בשמחה בריקודם. לא הוסיף גם כשהבולשביקים נכנסו לביתו. רב שלום דובר חיבר 37 ספרים, מהם האיגרוס, שהם כלולים ב5 כרכים ועד כמה קונטרסים, כגון קונטרס התפילה, קונטרס העבודה, קונטרס המעיין. חשיבות יסר ניתנת לחב"ד למאמריו בשל העובדה שהדברים מובן בהסברה רחבה ומובנת מושגת בשכל אנושי. עם זאת, הדברים מובן בצורה פסיקתי והחלטתי. משום כך, יש מכנים אותו הרמב"ם של תורה החסידות. בשנת 1880 נולד בנו היחיד, הממלא מקומו, רב יוסף יצחק הריץ. אוקיי, עד כאן היורצייט של שלום דובר. עכשיו לבדוק למה היורצייט של יעקב יצחק בן דוד טוורסקי, שנולד ב-1899 ונפטר ב-1968, נולד בסקוואר, באוקראינה. ב-1925 התחתן לטרני, ביתו של פנחס טוורסקי, חותן, מסוכת דוב רוקח מבלז. הוא חי תושבים אצל חותנו, שנתיים אצל חותנו היה. ב-1927 מונה לאדמו"ר חסידות סקוואר, דור השלישי, בעיר קלרוש. ב-1948 עבר לאמריקה, לארץ ישראל, לארצות הברית, US of A, to Borough Park for 2 years. אחר כך בוויליאמסבורג. ב-1957 he said New Square, okay, which is near upstate New York, near Muncie. Elio David Ben Moshe Bazoz is his yahrzeit today. נולד ב-1906 ונפטר ב-1983. נולד בג'רובה, טוניסיה. למד בישיבת אור תורה. ב-1923 היה רב בעיר אל-חמה. ב-1930 היה רב בעיר ספאז. והוסמך על ידי חכמי תוניס. עבר לארץ ישראל ושימש כרב בחיפה, שכונת נווה שאנן. הוא חיבר בין כבד אש. אוקיי, עד כאן היורצייטים של היום. עכשיו אנחנו ממשיכים עם פרק למ"ס, ויש לנו את הטקסט הראשי וגם את ההגה. We're continuing in both levels. So now to the main text. נכון לכל ירא וחדר לדבר השם, חרד לדבר השם. It is worthy and good. Whoever fears and trembles to the word of Hashem, לפקח תמיד על גורל העניין הזה, להזהיר רבים על כל עניין Shabbos. You should not take a back seat when it comes to Shmira Shabbos. You should be in the forefront and teach everyone the halachos of Shabbos, all of them, shelo yikaslu bam, so that they will not trip over them and not know the halachos. K'di'isa b'yalkut reish perich v'yakel Omar Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe Aseh lecha kehilos gedolos v'drosh lifnehem b'rabim. Kadosh Baruch Hu advised Moshe to gather together, congregate the masses, so that they should learn Hilchos Shabbos, the laws of Shabbos, the Horos Yisrael, Yisra V'heter, V'afilu Hu Ba'atzmo, Zahir Ma'od B'Kedusha Shabbos, Mikol Malkom Yesh B'yodo, Limchos. If he, Moshe Rabbeinu or anybody has the power to protest, ve'eno moche nitpas ba'avonam. It's almost that the klal midashosik nicholei. If you do not protest, it's as if you are participating in it. You give it you sanction it, and that's not what you're supposed to do. Moshe Rabbeinu Chazal Bor Ei Shafilu Tzir Neman Sheir Lolav Tov also Hikbi Lolav Shemukura. Even if you are goody and you observe the Shabbos on your own, but you do not provide and worry about others keeping Shabbos, you will, unfortunately, as you will see, continue tomorrow in the main text, you will see that you will be punished along with them, because you could have prevented them from being Machal Shabbos. Let's go now to the footnote. We're continuing on the idea that Kashu Ma'amid, we're talking about a Samavar, talking about people who treat certain Divrei Kabbalah, Divrei Shvus, Divrei Rabbanan, not the rices, they treat it with less import, and they stumble. And as a result of slippery poles, they eventually not only do Shvus and Rabbanans, they are over the rices. He says, when you put the samovar, eventually it will be covered and eventually extinguished. The dumya demai the amru chazal. It's brought as what in the Gemara Beya Chaf Beis Amud Aleph Hamistapek in Hashemen. If a person takes from the shemen, that's you have an oil lamp and you want some of that oil, so you take a little of the oil from there. Chayav, you are over a deraisa and Shabbos Mishum Mechaber, because by your taking the oil, you're causing, it's in effect causing the candle to not burn as much as it could have been, and it's a form of extinguishing it. Afshem Ismail or Rakmat, even if you cause a diminution by very little, it is still you're over in Mechaber. And when you take away the sum of oil over Chopam, Al Isur, Mavish, Al Yidesen, Slavin, Gacholim, every time you remove the samovar, the coals are flamed, they're waved, and they become stronger. Becomes a form of mavir. V'dumya d'mayda amr b'krisis daf chaf amad aleph. Kosuv ha'koseh hatoche b'kakolim, who rakes the coals. Chayav mishum mavir. It's a form of causing the fire. Mishum mechaber. It's also a form of extinguishers. Mechaber es elyonos, mavir tzachnonos. And when you cause the flames to get higher, it also, in effect, causes the flames to be lower. So it's a form of mavir and mechaber at the same time. It also came to amaze it. And if a person does it intentionally, Rosh Hashanah, we're talking about someone who innocently, not innocently, for a person on Shabbos, because he treats lightly Divrei Kabbalah, and he he's using a samovar, as a guy uses a samovar. So a person like that, when he gets to the point where he is actually causing mavir and mechaber, he becomes a Rosh Hashanah Poselatus. He's disqualified for any testimony. Shua cannot give an oath; it will not be accepted. From a bris nafsho, eretz l'chaim machris nafsho me eretz l'chaim, l'chaim koretz, which is if you're over a deraisa. Gamrut sof monokola, and eventually his possessions, his wealth, will be diminished, will be destroyed. I was a motion kokok nigmar at the mountain. Rafilu in hurosh or minha gara hazeh ra'amin samavar idei avkum hufkar esel kamanishim. And even if he says, hey, you know what? Everybody's doing it. All these frum Jews, they're going to bring in the samovar. Mikol makom chas v'sholam bilmod midarchem. Don't follow their ways just because a crowd does it. Kvar kosim b'Torah, and it's brought down in Pirkei Avos, Perek Gimel, Mishnah Aleph. Lo tiach rabim l'roz. You should not follow the masses when it comes. It says Akwe Rabim Hatos, but you follow the masses when it comes to halacha, but not when it comes to doing averus. Osiach Rabim Meros. Pirish, Amaforshim Shaloi Snai Gadam, the Davar Shara Filu in Rabin Hogan. You cannot do something that is a negative act, even if the masses are doing it. Al Yipala B'nei Adam Al Gmor Anal, Mashrini Sheyesh Bamba, Kama Machalei Shabbos, Vishat Nev Rabin Rabin, Masrichim Nixayim. You know, this is the perpetual question of Tzaddik V'Rolo. You can see, you know, we say that the person with punishing loses fortune, yet we see people that are Mechalel Shabbos with Teshov and Sachas Lamb, and they're doing okay, they're wealthy. Because Yiksha, Gamken on Mishnah Peah, could also ask the same question, and Mishnah and Peah, Aleph. It says, El Drum Shalom Chaperesim Yom Never Carry Kamas, Yolam Abba, V'Alonu Roim, Anoshim She'en B'Hem Afilu Echamid Dvorim T'Chazu Shamish Mishnah, you know, Shama Space Medrash, Shachris Arvis, Chanach Esorchim, Bikar Cholim, Avoyas Ames. We don't seem to do any one of these things. Filocha Yeslim Kol Tov. And yet, he's in Russia, and everything's going good for him. Kasher Yizbon Hativ, Yira Shabbasof, Yishulach Ma'ara Mitzayim. You have to really track this person throughout his life. If he was once a Shomer Shabbos and he's Mechalel Shabbos, eventually he will suffer. He'll call in the Gamri and he'll lose everything. Kasher Nismale Meitam. Rafilu Imra, Shalim Aslichim Kol Yameim Gamkein Lo Yifavela. Even if you see throughout his life he was successful, you'll see that eventually there'll be a fall, and especially in the world to come, when it comes to the real payment, he will be at a loss. Okay, so this is what we've learned. The Parsha Shavua, we learned the yard sites, and we just learned the Nidchei Yisrael Perek Lamates. And I will mention the fact that there are Cholim, and we're going to say Tehillim at the end right now. Shlomo Yosef, Ben Sima, Gershon David, Ben Golda, Avram Yitzchak, Ben Sima, Chana Bas Isha, Benea, Hebron, Ben Ravital, Nathanael, Ben Sivya, Matan, Mordechai, Ben Meira, Jonathan Chaim, Ben Kenta, Nathanael, Abraham, Ben Tia Simcha, Oded Ephraim, Ben Eben, Chaim Odo, Ben Inbal, Roi Chaim, Ben Meirav, Avihu, Raphael, Ben Anat, Chaim Daniel, Ben Hodaya, Itai, Ben Siva, Yosef Ben Chana, David Ben Yiba, Aaron Michal Ben Aracha, Ikon Ben Karina, Yehudit, Evi, Raphael, Palus, Yonasan Ben Idat, Shalom Yitzchak Ben Rachel, Eliyahu Ben Ravat, Nachum David Ben Miriam, Michiel Aryeh Ben Ibid, Moshe Chaim Ben Karen, David Ben Chana, and Elad Yaakov Ben Shoshana, Roy Ben Tal, David Michiel Ben Chana Ana. Okay, as you can see, there's plenty of Ruach HaKodesh here. Strong wind. We just had a really pouring rain early in the morning. That's why you see me in my raincoat. And we're about to do the Tehillim for today. Here it is, coming up. Perek Kuf Mem Bey.
Kif Mem Beis. Maskele David Biyoisoi, Amuru Sefilu, Koili Eladinoy Azok, Koili Eladinoy Eschanon, Eshpoich, Lefunov Sichi, Serusi Lefunov Agit, Bishat Taif, Ulai Richi, Ve'atu Yudatu, Nesivusi, Boirach Zialaich, Tomni, Chachli, Habait Yumin Rai, Vaini Makir, Uvat, Unois mimeni ein Deureich lenafshi.
Za'akti
Za'akti
elecha,
elechu Adinoi.
Amarti
Umarti al
atamachti.
tumachsi. Chelki be'evet hachayim. Akshivu el rinusi kidaloisi mioid. Hatzilayni bayroit fai. Ki yomtzi mimeni.
Hosea.
Oitziu. V'masgai nafshi loi. Des Hashemechu. Biyachti litzadik. Im gisig moileloi.
Ahachenu, Kol Beit Yisrael, Ahachenu, Kol Beit Yisrael, Anashonim Mitzara, so V'shigam, Dim Bayom, Oh, V'en Bayabasha, Hamakom Yerachem Alem, Yotzim Mitzara, L'Revacha, U'Mefel Eliora, U'Mishibud L'Geula Hashla, Bagala Uvizman Kariv, Nomar Amen. With that, we conclude today's broadcast. You can hear the traffic. Everybody's getting ready for Shabbos Kodesh. Let's not have any azakot. Let's have a quiet, peaceful, serene Shabbos. Shabbos Shalva, Shalom, Simcha, Vayikra, the beginning of a new Parsha, new Chumash, and we should have be prepared just 2 more weeks to Pesach, the Gula. So have Shabbat Shalom Umavorah.